Sup players, and welcome to this video. And we finally got a ban list. And in my opinion, my prediction was actually I will say it was slightly off by like 2 weeks, because I talked with one of my friends about that. I predict that the ban list will be released in the end of this month because of placing the minion format and everything like that, or in the start of next month. But right now, today, May 11th, we got the ban list, and it will be effective from May 18, 2026. So, yeah. Basically, guys, let's get straight into this. So, the first one, we're going to have the picture here, the forbidden cards, and that is the first one on the list is K904 Noroi. So, K9 Noroi will now be banned. It is going to be banned. And in my opinion, guys, that is the complete wrong target of the K9 engine. In my opinion, they should have banned K9 River, because River does too much. Like, it is basically easily splashable into anything. So, yeah. In my opinion, Noroi is not the right target. I I understand why they do it, because if we're going to talk about if Vanquish Soul bricks and they have access to Noroi, then they can easily just normal summon out Noroi, and then they have full access to Vanquish Soul if they are lucky enough to draw them. But again, with 4 draws from the Sayuja that you will end on, that is pretty good. But yeah, that is the only reason for why I can see them banning Noroi. But in my opinion, again, guys, the best choice would just have been like it would just have been banning Ripper, in my opinion. Alright, moving on, we have Naturia Rose Whip, and this is actually something that I did predict after I saw the Master Duel ban list, and I was like, okay, they're potentially doing the same in the TCG, because with Q2 now being on full power after blazing the minion, Konami really need to, do something about Rose Whip. And seeing it banned just makes me happy that they actually decided to do that. Right, I will say in the testing of Qtoon, I was siding Rose Whip, but I did not feel good about it, because I feel like that it is kinda a brick in most scenarios. It is a good card, yes, but it is kinda a brick. So, and basically, guys, if you play against Branded, or you play against something that plays the Fallen and the Virtues, and they just open that, they can use that to pop your Rose Wave, and then they can just go full combo power with the spell card as well. So it doesn't really matter. And then the last one is Chaos XC's Gimmick Puppet Fanatics Machinix, which I will say the only reason for why I can see it being banned is because of the FTK that Gimmick Puppet can make, and because of other potential FTK combos. So yeah, in my opinion, it doesn't make sense for why they ban Fanatics. I would have loved to actually see some of the Mitsurugi stuff, like maybe banning, I don't know, Mitsurugi Ritual, because Mitsurugi doesn't need Ritual. But yeah, moving on to the limited section. And the first one we have is Cupsy Yummy, and that is actually something that I like. I like to see that. I like to see Cupsy Yummy being limited on the list, because yeah, I hate that. I just hate Yummy. I hate the archetype itself. So yeah. Moving on, we have Fairy Tale Snow, and potentially, I'm actually debating about if I actually like the idea of this. Um, but again, I feel like that Fairy Tale Snow is not gonna do anything into the format that we're going into, so it's fine, honestly. Moving on to the next one, Jesus Christ. They are every ban list, they are in the snipe corner of this. They are in the sniper rifle of Konami. Malice White Rabbit is now limited. That is just, it's just funny. to think about, because one of my friends actually has Malice, and he will be pissed because Malice will now again get a hit. But again, in my opinion, I feel like that Malice is a deck that just should die. But the problem is that because to Nordic Open of 2026, there was like I don't know how many Malice players that there were to the event. I believe there was 5 or 6 Malice players. Um, and I will say that every time that I see Malice being played, I will just say I hope that deck just dies on the next ban list. Um, but if I know the correction right, they will just keep playing with the cyber slop that we got in Alliance Inside, like Authentic Nister, like genetic, generic support, not genetic. The generic support that we got in Cybers, not Cyberstorm Access. What am I talking about? Alliance Inside. Basically, we got generic Cybers support, and that was something that Malice did, just power creep as well. So the problem is not Malice itself. Yes, it is Malice itself, but the problem is not that. The problem is like the cybers, the cyber slop. That is the problem. But yeah, again, maybe this will finally kill Malice a little bit. I hope. Moving on, Copsy Yummy Way, which is the not generic, which is their combo starter basically that lets you add 2 Yummy cards, I believe. Again, really cool. I feel like that now Yummy is in the scope of Konami's Sniper, also like Malice a little bit, and I like the idea. I feel like that Yummy has been into the format for a good amount of time. Not sure if they would have been doing that much against Qtoon, but yeah, let us just see. Next off, we have Branded Fusion now being limited. Before it was semi-limited, now it's limited again, which is fine, in my opinion. Metamorphosis. It's a fine card in my opinion. Nothing there. The only thing is, like, I saw a meme actually of Metamorphosis because I feel like I remember that it is. I actually believe that it's limited in Master Duel now, and it will also be limited in TCG. And many hero players was like, now we are summoning out Neo, like Neo, Elemental Hero Neo Bubble Man, which allows some sort of crazy combo. So that's funny. Premature Burial, which is it's a fine card to limit. In my opinion, it doesn't do that much. It's basically just a monster reborn that costs life points. But hey, life points doesn't matter in Yu-Gi-Oh, so it's fine. Then we have Radiant Typhoon Chant, and I actually like the idea of Radiant Typhoon being hit, but not too much because Radiant Typhoon Chant is like their best combo starter. Some people might be arguing that Radiant Typhoon Vision, like the draw 2 and discard 1, is better, but I feel like the Chant is basically just a better version of the Vision, because that specifically lets you add cards and not draw random cards. So yeah. Rahu Dracotail, and that is just a nice thing to see that Rahu Dracotail is getting limited. I like that idea that Dracotail also is in the scope. So yeah, and last, also a card that I predicted, and that is Synchro Overtake, which, like, it makes sense. It does make sense that Synchro Overtake is limited. And yeah, because of Qtoon that we will be getting, Synchro Overtake is a card that I will say, and it's actually funny that my prediction about Qtoon was correct, because I talked with one of my friends about that. I hope on the next ban list that, for the sake of the game, that Qtoon's hits will not be specifically the Qtoon cards, but more like the tech cards that they run. And that is what I got right, because I also talked about that I want to I want them to ban Rose Whip, and I want them to limit Synchro Overtake. And that is something that I actually got correct there. And that is just pure out from the thing that I saw happen in Master Duel. So I feel like Konami has actually been looking into, like, okay, we did this in Master Duel. Let us see if we actually should do that in the TCG as well. And I will say Synchro Overtake at 1, like limiting, putting it down at 1 is just fine. In my opinion, it doesn't hurt Q-Tune at all, like, or something like that. But it does enough for it to actually be hit fairly. So yeah. And that is just something that I would say is the best thing. But yeah, moving on to the semi-limited section, and this is the last one. And first of all, we have Dracotail Lugias. Again, another hit to Dracotail. In my opinion, these should have just limited Lugias. Nothing there. Then we have Dracotail Arthalion. Again, that it's fine, in my opinion. I feel like that potentially they're looking into the fact with like Q-Tune Crackle that can bench in total 3 cards. But yeah. Basically, guys, overall, I would say that this Bandits is, from 1 to 10, I will give it a solid 7 out of 10. Like, I feel like that there's a lot of good decks that has been hit, and a lot of decks in the future that will be a little bit weaker, but it will not be like completely weak, and it will not be destroyed by the ban list. And that is just something that I feel like that this ban list have done. Like, again, I like the idea of Synchro Overtake being limited, even though that I like playing the Q-Tune strategy, but in my opinion, that is the best hit to Q-Tune right now. I don't know if they are planning on making an emergency ban list, but for now, that is the best hit, because it cuts off the access to the main deck, basically. So yeah, but yeah, guys, what is your opinions on this list? In my opinion, 7 out of 10. It hits a lot of good decks, a lot of the heavy meta decks. The only reason for why I'm lower than 8, because if basically I would potentially have given this like a, okay, now where I actually think about it, 7 out of 10 is not good. I will change my rating to 6 out of 10. And the reason for that is because that Mitsurugi is not on the list, and that is what I hate about seeing the list. If Mitsurugi was on the list, this would easily be a 8 or 9 out of 10. But since it's not, well, only 6 out of 10. And my predictions to it, limitation of prayers, and potentially the ban of Mitsurugi Ritual. And the reason for that is because the Mitsurugi Ritual is not a combo piece that is necessary in the Mitsurugi deck. We can just play Mirror instead of Ritual. So yeah, I get the idea of Ritual, I like the idea of Ritual, but basically Mitsurugi Ritual is actually a card that they can play without. So yeah. But yeah, guys, that's everything for this video. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and let us see what the next ban list here will bring us in the next format. Peace out.